So, hello and welcome to this week's bumper edition of the Turn 5 podcast. It was a frantic week in terms of racing. We had Formula 1, 3, E, and FRECA. So, we've made a couple of decisions. FRECA, we're just going to touch on after we've done Formula 1. Formula E, we're going to push that back because they've got a 3-week gap in between races. So, we're going to do a bumper Formula E episode after this triple header's done, because there was just too much racing this weekend to fit it all into one episode, so we figured that's the easiest way about it. As usual, we've got Richard, Ben, Alex and Nia here, and me, of course. So let's get going. 1 sentence race review, French Grand Prix. Nia, go.
Oh god, no, you put me on the spot now. As soon as he said that, I was like, I haven't got anything. Oh dear. Unexpected. That's one word, but unexpected.
Okay, one word can be a sentence.
Yeah.
Alex.
Paul Ricard actually isn't that bad after all. Often
Ben?
it gives you a headache.
I put, we love Darren, and Alex was spot on
About
about the race going to be good.
Yeah.
yeah, it makes a change. Predictions, but
Richard?
I'll just go for my 3-word review of Je suis shooketh, because holy smokes, we had a good race in France and I never thought that would happen.
Yeah, mine's is just, what? A good race in France? So yeah, we had a good race in France. We're going to skip practice because that was just France things. Mercedes topped at FP1. They should have topped FP2, but Max went on the softs, and Max topped FP3. Done. Moving on. Qualifying. Who wants to go first?
Yuki twerked.
Yeah.
I
What was
was
that
not
car doing?
I was not expecting you to say that.
I mean, come on, I tweeted it as well.
I probably saw it, but I was like, oh yeah.
I don't know.
Genuinely,
I think
what was that car doing when it went across the
Twerking
runoff?
apparently.
like, he dropped it on turn 1.
too early. That's like something I'd do on the game.
Yeah. So I don't know.
To be fair, he did take a bit of that massive yellow curb.
Yeah, but they then showed like an onboard of Bottas, and he took like an inch less and was just like, yep, fine, nothing. You watch Yuki's onboard, who's like, okay, turn in. Oh, Jesus, massive swapper on. Car does a 180, and then the transmission seems to just seize. So it was a weird one.
Then do a jiggle.
Yeah.
That was third qualifying crash now, which is not ideal.
Yeah.
Emilia-Romagna, Baku, and France. Although he didn't have Carlos Sainz spinning in sympathy this week.
Back-to-back spins, back-to-back crashes in quali though. It's not ideal. So
back-to-back last place start. Well, no, sorry, he didn't start last. He started 10th in Baku.
They had to start from the pit lane this time. So
because the gearbox was gubbed.
Unsurprisingly, given that
no, it wasn't actually because of the gearbox penalty. It was because they had to brake park Fermi.
Yeah, they changed.
They didn't have an identical floor. Yeah. So Yuki started from the pit lane.
At least AlphaTauri checked the gearbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ferrari checked the gearbox. They just didn't check the drive shaft.
Yeah. Didn't check the rest of the car.
Yeah. Other Q1 news: a Haas got out of Q1.
I feel like my bold prediction, I could like kind of try and swerve into this here, because it's a Ferrari Driver Academy driver that made it to his highest ever by causing a red flag. So, you know, kinda. No, okay.
No.
Damn it.
The car is not red.
He really wouldn't have been there had he not crashed.
How did he crash? It was a
exit of 6.
Yeah, but it's more like, how did he crash? It was a very slow speed crash.
He just seemed to dump his foot on the throttle, lose the back end, and that was it. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Lance Stroll was obviously going to go quicker than him. George was looking to improve his time as well. So he was probably going to go out. So yes, Haas
fairness,
made it into
George was
Q2.
already.
I mean,
George was
George was
already
already
ahead of
there.
Mick,
It was
yeah.
Raikkonen.
No,
And Latifi as well.
No, because
Yeah.
Mick finished P14. He only
Oh.
qualified P15 because he didn't take part in Q2.
Oh yeah,
So
true.
George only got through by 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, I'm getting that. Yeah. And
So
Latifi was on a green lap as well.
yeah, so he was going to be back down in the bottom 5, but he was still going to beat his teammate.
Probably
So,
the
yeah.
bottom 3, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
swings and roundabouts, I guess.
And then that tweet from Haas F1 was just perfection.
Yeah.
It was the epitome of that usage of that
Yeah.
name. So, I mean, yeah, fair enough. They won. They won this week.
Then Max took pole, and that was qualifying.
Yeah, that was kind of it. All the action happened
Yeah.
in Q1, really, didn't it? Yeah, it just kind of normal service was resumed after that point.
Yeah.
Only his second pole though, which isn't very many considering Red Bull pretty clearly have the best car over one lap. I think it's fair to say.
There was an
He's
interesting-
always been in the top 3 or something, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There was an
always
interesting
out.
anomaly with the track limits rules, though. In the race, you're penalised more strongly than in qualifying for going wide at that corner. But that's the way the rules were written, so we have no issue with it here.
Them's the rules.
Yeah. I think we had about 4 versions of the race director's notes published at one point in the
Yeah, they
weekend.
just kept
was
updating
mad.
it. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Race. We're just going to go team by team this week. We're going to try and avoid going on rants. Let's start from the bottom finishing team, and that is Haas F1 team.
Back down at the bottom this weekend.
Nearly crashed again.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there's some beef. There's got to be some beef there because
Yeah, Mick's
they were
not happy.
exchanging words in the press, weren't they? Mazepin
yeah,
was
Mick-
saying he's not going to have it easy.
Yeah, Mick was saying how, like, obviously Mazepin has a different way of doing things and how they got to have a talk in the team. And it was like, oh, if Mick's saying something, you know something's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
I
great.
mean, as if that team wasn't enough of a mess already. The drivers arguing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they finished last and second last.
And
Of a
when we-
20 finisher race as well. All cars made it to the end.
yeah, they did, and I think I predicted that.
He
You did.
sounded kind of
did.
disappointed. Like, yeah, he did. He's just
I mean,
Yeah,
if you think
that's-
this sort of stage of the season, someone has some kind of mechanical issue.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about my prediction during the race, and I was like, it's definitely going to be ruined by someone like retiring to save the gearbox or something at the end.
didn't a lot of them like change their engines, or was that just,
Well,
like,
yeah, I
just
was going
Red
to say
Bulls?
this is round 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the first race with
With a
everyone
new
taking a
gearbox.
new gearbox anyway that's legally allowed. Because a gearbox has to do at least 6 races. Unless you don't finish the race before, then you're allowed to take one for free. But yeah, so basically everyone took a new gearbox, so that one is really an issue in round 7 at least. Next lowest finishing team, Alfa Romeo Racing. Actually,
Williams.
no,
Oh,
Williams finished 12th.
oh, so
and
I'm just looking at the list we have
18th.
here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Alfa Romeo were 17th and 15th, so they would have scored less points in theory. So yeah, well, Alfa Romeo, they were just slow.
Yeah, they didn't see. I don't really recall seeing them on the
They wa-
broadcast at all.
The only thing I
No.
know that happened was Raikkonen and Leclerc coming together on the last lap.
Yeah, I only
That's
saw
all
that
I know.
afterwards as well.
Apart from that, like, what even were they? It always seems to be the case with Alfa Romeo. Like, you hardly ever see them anymore. Just normally they're coming like 11th and 12th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't the case. So I think we said it like last time. They're always sort of 11th and 12th, and
Yeah.
now they're just not.
I think it's just this time no one retired in front of them.
Well,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they just didn't have a great race. Both cars finished a lap down. That was it, really. Williams next up. Latifi 18th, Russell 12th.
Russell 12th on the one race that nobody DNFs.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is just typical, isn't it?
But the 12th does bump them back up the constructors standings.
Yes.
So
Yes.
back
about,
to
like-
where they probably should be on merit.
Think about some of the people that Russell beat legitimately as well, like Leclerc, Alfa Romeo, both Alfa Romeos. Tsunoda, he passed right at the end, didn't he?
Yeah, he passed
I think it
Tsunoda on
was
the
like-
last lap.
I
Or the
didn't
second
really,
last lap.
I didn't really follow like what strategy. I assume he won stops, but went quite long. I'm assuming.
I
That
honestly
seemed to be,
cannot say.
yeah.
I'm not
I mean-
sure because he did post his fastest lap on lap 52,
I don't know then. I
which
mean,
is very late for a one stop.
that one stop but going long seemed to be the way to go, didn't it? Because that was what Norris did.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I did not think that was the way to go when he made that pit stop.
Yeah,
Having
I
seen how powerful the undercut was earlier on in the race, you think they've kind of hung him out to dry, and then he goes and does his pit stop and then starts coming back through the field. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. But I genuinely don't know what strategy George Russell did, but whatever one it was
It worked.
a very
Yeah.
good one because he dropped to the back, didn't he, at the start as well? Again,
Mhm.
like he
Yeah,
always
he-
seems to do.
Yeah, he actually dropped behind Latifi at one point.
Mm.
And be honest, throughout the race, I kind of just forgot Williams existed. Like
Yeah,
towards the
it
end,
was
I was like,
it was
oh,
a bit like Alfa Romeo. We didn't really see them on the broadcast. They just
yeah.
went round.
It was kind of the same with the bottom three teams. Like we didn't really see any of them. Maybe
Yeah,
a Haas spinning. That
we
was
saw
it.
the Haas's fighting, and that was about it, really.
Yeah. Like we never really
Um,
see them on broadcast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
Then-
point following the back markers, is there?
True.
Next lowest ranking team for the weekend. Rather shockingly, given their performances over the last few weekends, it's Scuderia Ferrari. 16th and 11th for the Ferrari boys.
They were running quite high at one point because they were like
They got
fighting with
pole
the
last week.
they were
and now
fighting with the
finished out the
McLaren.
points.
They were fighting with the McLarens at one point, and then
Well, Charles
It's
was
just-
the first to come in because his car had munched his tires.
Yeah, it's the high deck they struggle with because it was like it at Portimao. It done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a weird one how they can drop so far because like the early pit stop for Leclerc was not the way to go. I think we saw,
Yeah, he ended up 19th or
But-
something.
but even so, you look at Carlos Sainz, for example. He pitted because he pitted to undercut Ricciardo, didn't he? I think, and so Ricciardo came in a lap later, and then they were effectively together after that. But you think how far ahead Ricciardo was at the end, for example. That's like an example of how bad the Ferrari was in its tyres compared to McLaren.
I don't know. I feel like the Ferrari decision was also partly because Charles had just destroyed the tires. Because he'd
So-
already been complaining. A lot of people had already been complaining about tire deg. So
Ricardo finished approximately 25 seconds ahead of Sainz at the end of the race.
And that's pitting at the same time from basically the same bit of track
Yeah.
together. Yeah. So, well, I think the Ferrari's main problem, I don't even know because that gap comes from a stint on the hards, doesn't it? But Leclerc particularly struggled with the mediums. Like even when he pitted for the second time, he was still dropping down, wasn't he? So I think, yeah, tyre wear in general, a very big issue for Ferrari.
is it something
next-
to do with like their engines? Because I remember seeing something like their engines really yeah.
I have a feeling it's strategy. I've just loaded up the live timing screen,
Yeah.
and two cars on the grid did a two-stop. That was Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
That was it. Everyone else
Yeah.
did a one-stop.
Yeah, I swear I read something about like the Ferrari engines degrade the tires a lot easier. I saw something
Might just
like
very well be Ferrari talk for we don't want to admit that our car design munches our tyres, so we'll just
True,
blame a
yeah.
fast engine.
yeah, but I swear I heard something about like that in Monaco. I could be spouting bullshit.
possible because, well, the reason why they qualified so well in Monaco and Baku was because their car is harder on its tyres, so it warmed them up quicker in the cold conditions, isn't it?
Yeah,
so I
that's
think
something like that. Yeah.
we saw the negative effect of that in France, possibly.
Yeah. Next up, Aston Martin Cognizant Formula One team.
I mean, you can't really fault them this weekend. They got both cars in the points somehow.
Yeah.
So
9-10. Fair enough. Solid weekend for Aston Martin.
Lance did a one-stop and went onto a set of softs and made the softs last 19 laps.
In
And
fairness,
still
he
finished
went
in the points.
incredibly deep on the mediums.
He stopped earlier than Vettel.
Hmm.
Actually, no, he didn't.
'Cause they
Because
were
their
both
second tire
running-
life is the same length. Oh no, is used mediums. So yeah, he didn't go as long as Vettel on the hards, but made his softs last just as long as a used set of mediums.
Yeah.
They seem to be the king of that, like first stint on the
Contra
hard
strat,
tyres
yeah.
now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Vettel always seems to qualify like, I don't know if this is
11th.
right, but that could be completely wrong.
It was what, 12th this week?
Never qualifies 11th, but yeah, it always seems like he's just outside the top 10, and he does that long stint on the hards, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, Stroll came from the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because Stroll didn't.
set a time.
Stroll. He did set a time.
2 minutes and 12, yeah.
Yeah. His time was just very slow. I think it was 147% of the pole position time. Well, not the pole time, but the best time in Q1. So the stewards had to give him permission to race.
I mean, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, he's done practice and he's been mid-table, so it's fine. So,
Well, I mean, if you're Alessio Deledda, that doesn't matter, but still.
yeah, but you're not mid-table
Mm.
in practice if you're a Alessio
Mm.
Deledda.
Next up, Alpine F1 team.
That was a
Um,
very 50-50.
4 points with Fernando. No points with Ocon. He finished behind Tsunoda. That's what I was going to say.
Nice save.
Only 7/10 down though. On Tsunoda, so still
Yeah,
quite
but
close.
14th on your home Grand Prix on the weekend that you've just been announced as having a 3-year contract extension.
Yeah,
Not
it's
ideal.
not great.
How did that happen? Because they were together for the first stint, weren't they? And I thought, well, I was thinking in the first stint that Alonso, because he was getting overtaken, he got overtaken by the McLaren, didn't he, for example? I thought he was going to plummet like he has done at a couple of other races. But then he just seemed to reappear again, like just behind the McLarens. But then Ocon, I don't know what happened.
They were running opposite tyre strategies because obviously Alonso got into the top 10. So Alonso had to start on his used mediums. Ocon started on the hards.
Yeah, honestly, it was just Paul Ricard things, really, for Ocon.
Ocon only went 7 laps longer than Alonso did.
Yeah, he
before pitting.
pitted on lap 26, and then he got up to 14th on lap 38 and just stayed there. That was it until the end of the race.
It's quite an early pit stop to go to the end on mediums, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think the
Yeah, he went
Alpine prefers the harder
27
tyre.
laps on used mediums.
Yeah, that's not great. Well, it is very impressive, just very slow.
Yeah. Yeah, those tyres were 27 laps old at the end of the race. Compare that to his teammate, Alonso, whose fresh hards were 35 laps old at the end of the race. That is an interesting one, to be honest. But yeah, that was it. Just couldn't get past, really, once he made it up into 14th.
Yeah, it was just kind of, I don't know. I feel like some weekends Ocon clearly sits better with the car, and then others Alonso does.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be any given weekend where both drivers do reasonably well. Like yes, they've had double points finishes, but that's sort of been like one's in 6th, one's just crept into 10th. There hasn't been. They don't have that consistency like McLaren do in terms of getting at least one of their cars right into the top of Formula 1.5, which is going to hinder them in terms of their constructors challenge, shall we say.
Next up,
Yeah.
6 points for Scuderia AlphaTauri Honda from Gasly. Sonoda 13th.
I mean,
4 seconds down on George Russell at the end of the race.
pit lane start to 13th.
Yeah, not bad.
Not terrible.
But it's
But
beaten by
going
Williams.
4 seconds back after 3 laps is quite drastic.
Yeah. I mean, again, a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Yuki crashing out in qualifying, it kind of ruined his race strategy there. Gasly qualified all right, ran a decent race, just got undercut by one of the McLarens and overtaken by the other one. So
Yeah.
I think, well, that was probably the best he could have done, because the McLarens with their tyre were clearly third quickest. But
yeah,
I think, well, we're seeing like last season's Gasly again after sort of that. I mean, it wasn't really a shaky start, was it? It's a bit unfortunate, a couple of incidents.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's the first time he's had a decent home race as well.
It's shown his growth as a driver, because he had a couple of incidents when he went to Red Bull, and that set him back, but it set him back a long way, and he stayed set back a long way. He's had a couple of incidents at the start of this season with AlphaTauri, and it set him back a little bit, but he's bounced back from it quicker, and he's gone on to get a podium and, you know, regular points finishes. So,
but then there's still this question mark, which is bothering me a lot over where he's going to be next year, if anywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't
Time
Helmut
will
Marko
tell on that
say?
one, really.
Didn't Helmut Marko say he's got like another 2 years extension contract with AlphaTauri?
Yeah, but Helmut Marko speaks out his backside.
yeah, there's reliable sources, then there's we've got this covered.com, and then there's Helmut Marko.
True. But
I
let's
think
just
Helmut
hope it's
Marko-
true.
Helmut Marko said after Hungary 2019, didn't he, that Gasly wasn't going to be dropped, or
And
he
he
was
was.
stay to the end of the season, and then he was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, slightly worried about that, but surely not. I mean, it'll be like the Perez situation again, won't it? Where there's just so much like pressure on someone to give him a seat that someone will do it. I hope.
Yeah.
He's too good a driver to let go, and he's proven that he can handle it at the front. So as sad as I was to see Hülkenberg go, he was essentially at that point a notorious choke artist anytime he got anywhere higher than fourth. So
Yeah, pretty much. Next up, McLaren F1 team.
solid.
Yeah,
It was a
fifth and sixth.
great weekend. We're starting to see
Exactly
like
where they should be.
it's starting to see the old Daniel back as well.
Yes,
Like, he's starting to get his
seeing
get
his
feet in
overtakes was
he's
great.
starting to get his set his feet in McLaren.
I'll say it. I was mildly worried when, you know, they only qualified 8th and 10th.
McLaren doesn't have great qualifying pace, does it?
No.
Yeah, it's a better race
But
car.
if they want to get back to winning world championships,
They need
Yeah.
to.
they need to get qualifying
Yeah.
pace.
It's all well and good finishing 5th and 6th, but if you're not qualifying high enough, then you can't get close enough to the front four to mount an attack.
Yeah.
So
And they finished a minute off, didn't they?
Yeah.
Of the
49.4
Yeah.
seconds Norris to Bottas, 11.8 seconds Ricardo to Norris. So even then, that's quite a big gap between the teammates.
yeah, I mean, Lando
Different
again,
seconds.
absolutely. I think I saw. Has he been in the top 5? Is it 8 of the last 10 races?
He's been
think
in the
that's what
top
someone said.
10 every race and the top 5 apart from Spain, I think.
he's
But
had one
one
race where he
8th.
finished 8th, and
Yeah,
then
and
the
the
rest
rest
he's
have been
been in the
top
top
5.
5.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be. I think we're talking now about, you know, is he the best after Verstappen and Hamilton? Maybe. Is that
I mean,
fair?
as much as I'd love to believe that, because
I think that
really
one's
like
a bit
Lando.
unfair.
I still think we need to put Russell in a good car before we can make that sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We've
McLaren
seen-
as well.
Charles as well.
Yeah, we've seen what Russell can do
Yeah.
in a Mercedes. We now need to see what Russell can do in a Mercedes for a whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
That's
current
all-
form though.
We've seen what Charles can do with Ferrari engine that goes, but now we need to see what Charles can do in a Ferrari engine that goes, but legally. So,
Yeah, well, there's always going to
yeah,
be.
I think it's too early to tell for a lot of these young drivers.
Yeah,
but the next generation is at least promising. Once
Yes.
once the old guard retire, because I mean, you look at the older drivers. You've got Vettel, Hamilton,
Alonso.
Raikkonen, and Alonso. That's at least 4 seats that are going to go in the next sort of 4 years ish.
Maybe Ricardo as well, because he's like 31.
I mean, if you're going to
maybe-
sort of throw in that, then maybe Bottas as well.
Yeah.
that could be this year.
Yeah, it'd be
That
got
could be
next
this
year.
year.
Yeah. So there's potential.
Speaking of Bottas, shall we discuss Mercedes?
Oh, here we go.
I mean, we've made it this
No
far.
one listens to Valtteri apparently.
Mm.
Yeah, and I put out another tweet much the same. It was it's an Aardman film, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like pirates that are really sort of semi posh. But it's like when Valtteri suggests actually useful race advice, Mercedes. Well, yes, but actually no. So yeah, it's pretty obvious they just kind of hung him out to dry as a rear roadblock, and that rear roadblock was severely ineffective. So
Yeah.
I think they honestly, when Bottas had made the 2-stop call, I was like, well, yeah, do it. That is the right call, and they just didn't.
It's Pirates Adventure with Scientists.
Thank you. But yeah, they just hung him out to dry, and in the end, that's cost them at least
race
one
win.
position.
Well, it's cost them a win and a podium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In theory. Thing is,
Yeah.
though, this
And
is
the lead of the
now.
championship.
Yeah, well, I mean, we slated Mercedes after the last 2 races, and that's 3 in a row now. But
Yeah.
because they went for wait, let me get this right. They went for an undercut at Monaco and Baku, when their tyre wall was poor, so an overcut was powerful, and then vice versa in France, where there was, as we saw from Verstappen,
The
ridiculous amounts of time to gain from undercut.
The bit I don't get is when they pit Bottas first, saw that Max had then pit the next lap, but then the lap after that they pitted Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you do Bottas one lap and then Hamilton the next? Because if they'd done that, he wouldn't have lost the lead at that stage of the race.
Yeah, exactly. It was very
So yeah,
It's so un-Mercedes.
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, it still feels a bit wrong to criticize them when they've made so many unbelievable calls, and they've literally,
I mean, yes,
they're the epitome of a perfect, professional, well-oiled team, aren't they?
but they're
so
just
I
sort
get-
of fraying around the edges now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I-
guess,
You
their
look back to
standard.
Spain. You look back to Spain, and they did the perfect strategy, and then they've just been Spained.
Yeah.
So they literally got beaten at their own game. And even Hamilton was on the radio saying, give me the undercut second time round. And then Max pitted, and they were like, go long. It's just how it's going to pan out. You've watched your team overtake the guy, and now he's just casually come and got his revenge. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so un-Mercedes.
yeah,
I mean, perhaps it's, I don't know if you want to be maybe cynical, it's the pressure is getting to them of having another team that is clearly going to. I mean, obviously
it's
Ferrari.
what it looks like. It
Ferrari,
really
they
is.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking that just now. It's like
Yeah,
it does look like it's getting to them because they've been dominant for so long. like,
yes,
In
you've had
2016, it was in the team, so yeah, but Ferrari kind of
fell away.
2019, yeah, they
they shot
the
themselves in the
legend.
foot. Really.
yeah, but now they have an actual team who could challenge them. They look
Who
like they're
are
starting
challenging them.
who are challenging them. They look like they're starting to get worried and
But
starting
then
to crack into pressure
I
a little
point you
bit.
to 2017. When that was the case, they had a team actively challenging them. They weren't the greatest in the first half, and then after the summer break, they just knocked out the park. Result after result after result after result, wrapped up both championships.
Oh yeah, I mean, writing them off now would be ridiculous.
Suicide.
I'd argue at the
Yeah.
moment the only thing actually performing to full like capacity at the moment is Lewis Hamilton in that team, and even then he made a massive mistake, didn't he? Well, a costly mistake.
Yeah,
but yeah,
cost him the
obviously,
championship lead. He would still be leading the championship this race if he hadn't made that mistake.
yeah.
He's
But
a
then
21-point lead.
yeah, like you say, obviously after the summer break, they're always so strong. But then this season, there's not going to be so many developments. We're going to focus on next year a bit more, so
And
it could be different.
I don't know.
Red Bull are always really good at in-season development as well. So,
But then Red Bull always look really good in in-season development because Mercedes go after about 6 rounds. We've had enough. We'll talk about next year. This year they won't do that.
yeah. This season, Red Bull have started much stronger than they have in previous seasons as well, which is probably part of the issue. So it's all well and good Red Bull starting this strong. It's now, can they continue that? Can they maintain the pace?
Yeah.
It's all well and good, like 6-7 races in, being in the lead of both championships, but at the end of the day, at the end of the year, it's the numbers at the end that matter, not the mid-season results. So
yeah, exactly.
And the crucial thing is, well, I assume we've moved on to Red Bull now.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Crucial thing is, Christian Horner said, didn't he? If we can beat them at France, we can beat them anywhere. So, I mean, it's weird because we all thought, didn't we, coming into France, that, well, it's a Mercedes track, it's a conventional circuit, the flexi wings are being regulated, all that sort of stuff. We thought, Mercedes would dominate. And all of a sudden, I mean, well, it was in third practice, wasn't it? Verstappen put like 8/10 on Mercedes.
Yeah.
Clearly, the quicker everyone. I mean, race pace, they were pretty even, weren't they? But even then, you look back to Spain, I think Spain's probably the one race out of the 7 we've had where Mercedes were probably the quicker. So that says a lot about Red Bull's dominance at all circuits, rather than just, the Monacos.
I think what doesn't help the Mercedes car is that obviously it was designed, the main body, the chassis was designed last year with that. And with DAS in mind, nobody was expecting to still be using this chassis this year. And then Red Bull were like, FIA, stop them, please. And then Mercedes were doing well because they had a powerful engine. And then Red Bull were like, FIA, stop them, please. And that was removed as well. If Red Bull win the championship, great. But I will take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt.
I mean, at the same stretch, Red Bull have, been winning races, and Mercedes have gone, the rear wing, it bends. Hey,
true.
hey. And now it's
that was illegal.
And now
That's
it's
an engine mods weren't.
It's coming back to bite them in the arse because
Yeah.
their front wings are now being investigated by the FIA. So, yeah, we'll see. But
yeah.
The thing is, like, all these other races have been able to explain why Red Bull were quicker, mainly flexi wings and tyre warm up.
Yeah.
I can't explain why.
France, you can. It's the 2-stop.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they were genuinely quicker,
They were in front, so
yeah.
With like the radios and stuff, wasn't Max's radio just like not working?
Yeah, we had Robot Max.
Yeah, and like Lewis stopped working for a while because like I don't think he could hear race.
He couldn't hear Bono.
Like, he couldn't hear Bono. He couldn't hear Bono. I was like,
yeah, race control don't really tend to talk to the drivers in Formula One.
No, race control just deal with the teams.
Yeah.
But the headset swap from Bono mid race.
Yeah.
Is that the F1 equivalent of have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yeah.
Because you can't really turn it off and on again. But,
just turn the switch off and on.
I loved Max's engineer. Yeah, can you fix your mic?
Sure.
Hold on.
200 miles an hour down the Mistral Straight.
Yeah, how was he meant to do that? Because the only way I could think of doing it, because it's like right by their mouth, like maybe use it as tongue to move it.
It's either finger up or finger in. Either way is not going to end well.
No, it's like going 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Even if I was him, I wouldn't want to be like messing around with my microphone.
The whole reason the F-Duck got banned was because drivers were taking one hand off the steering wheel.
But then I give to you Charles Leclerc
driving 2 laps without seatbelts.
was
Japan
holding
2019.
his
Steering wheel down here, hand over here.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Around 130R.
that was quite funny though. That was talented.
But yeah, so that's Formula One. I realise the bit about Red Bull will make me sound like a better Mercedes fan, but it is true. Like, it just is.
That you're a bit Mercedes fan, yeah.
No,
we got that bit.
that
Bias.
that Red Bull
Got him.
complained and got them pegged back. Which annoys me a bit. That's the one thing about this sport that annoys me, and it has happened throughout history, is when they change the regulations to just peg back the winning team. Shouldn't we be telling the bad teams to just get better?
I mean, yes, but poor old Claire Williams couldn't afford that.
Yeah, it's easier
So-
said than done.
Like, the cost cap and stuff is a good thing, but just
Yeah.
being like, yeah, we're going to bring in these regulations
I
to
think
hurt this team, I think is a fundamentally bad
I
idea.
feel like the 2022 regs are designed to try and do that. Rather, the 2021 was more of a stopgap because we were
Yeah.
supposed to have the new regs this year anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, well, the main reason they did it was so that Pirelli didn't have to design an entirely new family of rubber. So, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it's just luck of the draw, but in a way it kind of is, because that's
Yeah.
it. They've
Like, in terms
done,
of the aero regulations
Yeah.
and stuff, yeah. I'm talking about things like the engine mode ban and stuff.
oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
I mean, that does
specifically-
affect everyone though, because if nobody can turn their engine up, we get no more last lap Lando scenario 7s.
But then you have Helmut Marko coming out saying, yeah, we asked the FIA to do it to peg back Mercedes.
And it didn't work.
Yeah.
Question.
They got
What is-
further away in 2020.
What actually is Helmut Marko's job?
He's
Chief motorsport advisor at Red Bull Racing or something.
he's like lead
Okay.
talent scout, and
Okay,
Yeah.
that
everyone
makes a bit-
reports to him basically.
Chief
Yeah, that makes a bit
Pot
more
stirrer.
sense. Yeah,
Media.
and I thought he was just to do with like the junior academy. So I was like, why the hell is he fiddling with Formula One's business when he's to do with the junior stuff? But that does make a lot more sense now.
Yeah. Basically, the only person above him is Christian Horner.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think Christian's got much say in what Helmut does.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, Helmut answers to Christian and no one else.
Probably not even.
And
that
even
half the
then,
time.
Helmut tells Christian what to do.
So
So yeah, Helmut basically runs the team from the background.
there's backseat drivers, and then there's backseat helmets.
Yeah. Backseat drivers and then Helmut Marko.
Did you guys see a Ted Kravitz doing like a thing at this before the race start?
2 6 Teds. 2 6.
I was like, what? No. He did that thing at the start where he was like talking about the grid box and stuff,
Yes.
and like the yellow line, and he just said, "You're right, Helmut." I just kept going around him, like basically going in circles around Helmut Marko, because Helmut was basically standing directly on the line where he was trying to talk about, so he had to keep going around him. I love that bit.
I mean,
Any-
Ted generally is just great. So
Yeah.
He's just there for a laugh, I think.
Yeah. I love his notebooks. Like, it's great.
Everyone
Anyway.
loves Ted.
Well, apart from Crofty. 2 6 Ted.
She texted. When you said that, I was like,
What?
sorry.
But yeah, Richard, driver standings, please.
Okay.
Speed run this week.
Oh Jesus.
Just read out the names.
Hang on,
read
wait,
out the
hang on.
names.
So just names, no points. What about changes? Because we've got swaps.
Well, ignore that too.
Okay, so 20th Latifi, 19th Mazepin, 18th Schumacher, 17th Russell, 16th Giovinazzi, 15th Raikkonen, 14th Tsunoda, 13th Stroll, 12th Ocon, 11th Alonso, 10th Vettel, 9th Ricciardo, 8th Gasly, 7th Sainz, 6th Leclerc, 5th Bottas, 4th Norris, 3rd Perez, 2nd Hamilton, 1st Verstappen.
And the team's championship is as follows: 10th Haas, 9th Williams, 8th Alfa Romeo, 7th Alpine, 6th Aston Martin, 5th AlphaTauri, 4th Ferrari, 3rd McLaren, 2nd Mercedes, and 1st Red Bull.
You struggled to say Mercedes, didn't you?
I do. Yeah, it's painful every time.
He only struggles when it's not got a number 1 next to it.
Yeah. That's bad. The only thing that I'll enjoy if Red Bull win the championship next year is that the number 1 car will return to the grid. That will make me happy.
Instead of just the FP1 at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Anyway,
podium prediction
podiums.
standings, please.
In 7th is Mason on 15 points. In 6th is Chris on 16 points.
Yes.
In 5th is Alex on 28 points. In 4th is Nia on 30 points. Down 2 into 3rd is Ben with 31 points.
Ben just looked in pain that entire time.
I knew what was coming.
In 2nd and up 1 is me on 39 points. And in 1st and up 1 as well on 40 points is Sonia.
All Bottas's fault.
Yes.
Bold
yes.
predictions. Did anyone get one right last week?
Alex said no DNFs. That is indefinitely correct. And Ben said that Ferrari were going to be bad, and they most definitely were.
Great.
Podium prediction. Social media. Inda won. They got 3 points.
Well done to them.
That was it. And Mazepin bingo. Alex got all 3 right.
Ooh, well done, Alex.
Let's just end this before we go on to F1 Fantasy.
We have
No,
one
boys.
more thing to do, and that's F1
Fantasy.
Fantasy.
What a lovely segue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Alex.
Should have
Makes it
mentioned
easy
it.
for us to bring up. We're not going to go into who scored what this week. We're just going to go
Please
in.
don't.
For Alex's sake.
We nearly had an issue there. Fantasy was broke, but it's working again.
It's broken.
It's
Woken. But no, it's working. So turn 5
Alex
for
doesn't
France.
want to talk
the
about his 76
standings-
points this week.
The standing in points were as follows: 8th, Alex, 76. 7th, Richard, 165. 6th, me, 168. 5th, Nia, 192. 4th, Ben, 201. 3rd, Nia, Team 2 with 205. 2nd, Richard, Team 2 with 234. And in 1st, with the important caveat that a Mega Driver was used, is Richard, Team 3 with 297. That's F1 Fantasy done.
I'm still annoyed about Mega Drivers. The one weekend.
Wait until after next week.
Oh, God. The one
FRECA.
weekend.
FRECA raced at Zandvoort this week. One thing before we just talk about who won. Zandvoort looked very grassy. Like, the grass was
Yeah.
very long.
Hmm.
I hope they fix that.
So the groundskeeper's been slacking off, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically. I hope they fix that for when Formula 1 shows up, because it didn't look like a Grade 1 circuit should. Is basically what I would say.
Was a bit like, I've been a bit skeptical of Zandvoort ever since they announced it. It just seems like there's not much runoff, and like
Yeah.
it's just
It just feels like a
banking.
very narrow track.
Mm.
Having
Yeah.
played it on the F1 game as well.
Yeah. And the other thing that was very strange about at least FRECA race 1, I can't remember about race 2, the start, they didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights were on. They just switched the lights on, switched them off, and they were off. Like, they didn't
Yeah, I
bring them
think
on
I
in
noticed that.
sequence.
I think I noticed that as well. I was like,
Interesting.
but I think
Yeah,
I kind of
it was very
wasn't
weird.
paying. I kind of wasn't paying attention to FRECA because I was also watching Formula E qualifying.
Yeah.
Or F1 qualifying. I can't remember which one.
Formula E is pain as well.
Oh,
So that's why we're
not
not
for
talking
me.
about it this week.
I'm a Venturi fan. Not for
Uh,
me.
Formula 3, it was just Arthur Leclerc was
was his
outstanding.
his
Yeah, it was his
weekend, really.
weekend.
I mean,
Yeah.
Victor Martin's had a good weekend as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Victor Martin. It was brilliant. The Formula 3, all
Didn't-
3 races.
Yeah.
The thing,
Yeah,
Wasn't
the
Formula
thing
3
I-
was just outstanding.
Wasn't
the thing
MP
that I noticed was-
Motorsport? Didn't MP Motorsport get on the podium in each race? I think it was
I
them.
think so, yeah.
There was an Alpine back driver on the podium. I think he's with MP Motorsport, but I can't remember his name.
I mean, at one point it looked like we were going to get a Prema 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
nearly happened.
it was like one of the last laps. Victor Martin overtook Dennis Hauger.
Spoiled the party, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
And
I think
then,
it was Ollie Caldwell, wasn't it?
are we really
That's-
surprised at Formula 3 being good?
No,
I'm not.
no.
Formula 3 and Formula 2 is always outstanding.
Is anyone like less like excited about it because there's such big gaps and like the 3 races just kind of like
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
get what you mean.
yeah
Formula 3 is a bit more congested. Formula 2 is really bad.
yeah
for
it's
me.
like it's 6 weeks in between Baku and Silverstone,
Yeah.
which I mean is good for Teo Pacheco, so he gets to heal his wrist, but like bad for us because we get bored.
Yeah, I do like the 3 race layout in itself, but
Yeah.
I kind of forgot what had happened in F3, like coming into this weekend.
Mm.
I couldn't even remember
who
when
was
F3
leading.
last raced.
Spain. Is that
Yeah.
right?
It was Spain, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and you should never be forgetting when the last round was, to be honest.
I just like, what do the apart from train, what do the drivers and like do simulator stuff? What do the drivers like do in between?
Watch
So-
Formula
Oh,
1.
some of them do like DTM.
Yeah,
Liam Lawson
Okay,
Liam
yeah.
Lawson.
went and won
Uh,
DTM
Those
this
don't.
weekend.
I was gonna say Jack Aitken, but he's not a part of
Mm.
F2 anymore because he only did Monaco and Baku.
Yeah.
He
Well, Dan
does
Tickton
GT.
streams Warzone
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
That's
So
one
does
I
Liam
definitely know
Lawson.
about.
So did Liam.
That's where he gets his language from.
It literally is. He sounds the exact same on the radio as he does
Yeah.
in Warzone.
And yeah, it was a great weekend for Formula 3, to be honest. And then race 3 was wet.
Yeah.
Woo, a wet race. We do love a wet race.
It just didn't stay wet for very long.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see there was I can't remember who it was, but there was a journalist who was saying like the weather forecast were for Le Castellet, and it was like meant to be storms all day. But it turned out his weather forecast was for a different Le Castellet, which was like
Oh
100
yeah, I did see
kilometers.
that
It
actually.
was like 100 kilometers from the circuit. So in a different Le Castellet in France, it rained all day, but not, of course,
Oh,
at the
Yeah.
actual.
brilliant.
Oh,
It was when you seen the precipitation charts on Google, and it was literally like quite high, and then it just went down to 0 for the hours of the race, and then went right back up again. You're like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's every single race. And what a surprise, Spielberg meant to rain all weekend, supposedly, but it just
I
won't.
mean, it's
Which means it'll rain on Saturday. We'll have a wet qualifying and then a blowing dry race.
That happened last year as well, didn't it?
it was good fun. Shook up the
Yeah.
grid a bit. So
George Russell nearly made it in the Q3.
Lando third.
Yeah. Verstappen going sideways through turn 10.
Antonio
Hamilton brought right
Giovinazzi
over
going
us.
one step further.
I might have to change my pole prediction for Styria if it's going to rain again. Bear in mind what happened last season. Was it 1.2 seconds at the
Yeah,
shortest
let me
track?
quickly check the weather forecast.
It's wet.
for
Well, I
this
made mine
Saturday.
based on the fact it would be
Oh.
dry.
That's my
Yeah.
prediction in the bin.
Okay. That Friday is to be stormy with a 94% chance of rain at 2 o'clock. Saturday is to be rainy with no higher than a 71% chance of rain, but that's at 2 in the morning. And Sunday, 78% chance of rain at 2 o'clock.
It's not gonna rain,
So
though. It just isn't.
it's going to be dry.
Well, we'll have some live insight from that.
Yeah.
I can
and how the weather was exactly from the region next time out, because we'll be joined by Sonia, who is actually going to that event. So
Yep. Lucky Sonia getting a ticket for the Grand Prix.
Is there fans then at the Styrian Grand Prix, but not the Austrian?
No, I think there's fans
there's
at both.
both.
Is there,
Yeah.
How?
Um,
I'm not going to ask you how that. I don't know how it works. It's
they
like,
sell tickets.
just given another ticket. But
I don't know. They probably just advertised tickets for 2 different races, didn't they?
yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll have to ask next week.
Yeah. How did you buy your ticket?
So yeah, Formula 3 typical chaos. I think in race 1 there was 5 race leaders at one point. So
Yeah, lots of
5 different
overtakes.
race leaders. Yeah.
I think in the
Plenty
first race there was
overtaking.
there was an 8-car train for the win by the end. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it was that. And the thing is with Formula 3 is brilliant because there was overtakes like at all different parts of the track. It wasn't just
Yeah.
into the chicane. It was-
I loved the last corner dive bombs.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Those were great.
That's just what makes Formula 3 so entertaining, is
Yeah.
because it is basically a spec series you can follow so well.
Mm.
So, Styrian GP predictions. Now that we've read out the weather forecast, Richard, I suggest you put the ones that we sent you in the bin. Let's do it live.
Oh,
Because I've got a feeling that everyone's going to change them.
nope. I'm staying. I'm sticking with what I got.
Okay,
I'm
Right.
just sticking with what
okay,
I've got.
Richard, in that case, what have you got?
I am going for a carbon copy of this week. Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, and Verstappen on pole.
Nia, you said you're sticking?
I think I said the same thing.
You did indeed.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
All right, Ben.
Are we allowed to change?
I mean,
swear.
he's just throwing it out there, so I'm gonna have to write it down now. So yeah, go on.
Okay.
Because we hadn't taken the weather forecast into account, so you're allowed to change.
had.
Yeah, that's
Given
fine.
new data.
Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricardo, because Sonia's there.
Fair. Paul,
Pole.
Lewis.
Cool.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with mine on the basis that I think it's going to be dry, which was Verstappen pole, then Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. Just because I wanted something different, to be honest. And off the basis
So-
of last year, but yeah.
Off the basis of last year, it's going to rain in qualifying and then be dry for the race. So I'm going to stick with my race prediction of Verhambot. But I'm going to change my pole prediction to Hamilton because he's just the king of the rain.
Yeah, if it rains, I think Hamilton will have it, but I don't think it will rain, just because we're going to get trolled yet again.
Well, we don't have long to wait. So by the time this episode comes out, well, the drivers' conference is in 2 days. So,
Okay. Bold predictions. And we are very far ahead on where we thought we were, so we might be able to go back and actually talk about FRECA.
Wait, for like Mazepin bingo results, did we actually talk about what Alex said?
oh no, I didn't.
No.
No, we'll do that when we
That's right.
when we do this week's
Yeah,
round.
Yeah, I realised as we were
Um,
talking about like Formula 3, I was like, wait, did we actually talk about it? Is what he said.
We'll come back to that.
We were trying to speed run this too fast.
Yeah, we've done a mega speed run.
But yeah, after the last couple of episodes of pure waffle.
Yeah, I think we've...
Yeah. Well,
Well,
Apart from
last
last
week
week.
we ended up talking about Singapore and a France podcast.
so pure, waffle.
Yeah, we have brought it down to a decent length, just
Yeah.
by speed running it.
So bold predictions. Nia, bold prediction for Styria.
I'm just gonna stick with what I've always done. Unexpected DNF. It happened last year. It may happen again.
You got called out on my text messages for that wasn't very bold. Just saying.
Oh, Richard's friends calling Nia out.
Yep, fine, yep. Fine, just, you know.
Ben,
George Russell will get his first points for Williams.
that is bold.
No,
I said that in... when did I say that?
Yeah, but it's not you
Back in-
saying it, so it might actually happen.
Hang on, I did all right this week.
You know, I'm good at
That's 'cause you
predicting
didn't
things,
curse
Alex.
anyone.
Alex,
Right, so I'm going for 2 in a row here then. There will be contact of some sort between a Mercedes and a Red Bull. I'm not saying which ones. And that's why I've not got Bottas or Perez. Well, it's not. I've just completely made that up.
Yeah,
I haven't got Bottas or Perez on the podium.
he's got Hamilton and Verstappen on the podium and not
So it basically
Bottas and
has to be.
Perez.
You
So
don't-
we know
you never
who's
know.
crashing.
It might be like Spain, where Verstappen and Hamilton, or Imola even, where they slightly touched in the first corner. They get away with it.
Richard?
I'm going to say that the F1 race will be dry, but the W Series race is going to be wet.
Okay. And I'm actually going to give one this week because I forgot last week. And I'm going to say, I think we might have a red flag. especially with such a high chance of rain. If it does rain in the race, I think there's a very high chance of a red flag.
If it rains enough in quali.
Oh,
I mean, it might just
yeah,
happen in
but
quali anyway.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I'm talking like weather-specific red flags, like we had last time round,
Mm.
when they just delayed it until the rain wasn't quite as torrential.
yeah.
So,
Well, that wasn't so much a weather-related red flag. They just didn't start.
true. Yeah. They just did delay the whole shebang, and then Giovinazzi went off, and then they red flagged it.
Formula 3 not Formula 3, Formula 2 started about 3 hours late.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't great for them.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my bold prediction. I think we'll have a red flag in the race. Mazepin bingo. So, what did Alex predict last week that got my bingo?
Alex
Okay.
correctly predicted that Mazepin would indeed finish the race, on which lap he was lapped for the first time, and how many total laps down he would finish. So, Alex, is he going to finish?
That's a more difficult one. Yeah, I think he will.
Okay. And on what lap? Oh, how many laps are there? Let's get that number
Yeah.
first. Let's be fair.
I need to
Let's-
pretend I'm doing maths again, like last time.
It
I'm
happens like
completely
every
making it up.
time. At least someone has said, right, maths. Don't need to pretend I'm doing something.
There's 71 laps.
71. Okay, and it's what, a 1 minute.
1 minute
Five
5
lap.
is the lap
So
record.
based on a complete guess, that's nothing to do with any of that. Lap 32 again. Why not? Even though it's a
And-
much shorter track.
How many laps down?
I'm just going to go the same one again because there'll be a safety car late, or not late, but
Late enough.
late enough that he only gets lap 1.
Okay. Ben,
He's
is he going to
gonna-
finish?
No.
Okay.
It's going to rain. He's going to spin. He's going to get trapped in a gravel trap.
Is he going to be lapped before he DNFs?
No.
Okay. Chris, is he going to finish?
Yes.
And on what lap?
How many laps is Austria again?
71.
71, yeah. About 32.
I said, isn't it?
Yeah. And how many total laps down?
Okay.
2.
2. Oh, okay, good. We've got a difference. Nia,
I'm going to go with no.
he's not going to finish. Okay, is he going to get lapped before he DNFs?
Yes, on 25, because I'm sticking with what I always go with.
25, but he won't finish a total lap down because he isn't finishing. I'm going to say he is going to finish. I'm going to say 27, and I'm going to say 2 laps down. So that is Mazepin bingo locked in. We have some social media podium predictions, which we should probably cover.
point.
Discord, we've got Lily, who has stuck with Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, and pole for Hamilton. She's not changing. I even gave her the option after the French race to, like, you sure? And she went, yeah, just fine.
I admire the courage. I
yeah.
admire the courage.
I admire the optimism.
Yeah.
Underscore KR underscore 45 went for Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, and Verstappen on pole. Handball 93 went for Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, and Perez on pole. And my mate Matt went for Hamilton, Perez, Ricciardo, and Hamilton on pole. And he has self-proclaimed himself as the outlandish guesser. He also gave me a bold prediction of Verstappen to DNF, and that DNF is going to be caused by Sonoda.
Interesting.
So
Helmut Marko's not be happy.
that's exactly what I said.
So we do have time, so we're going to talk about F1 play.
I did all right this week.
I don't
had
actually
a
know how I did.
disaster of a week.
I always
People
forget.
won.
Yeah,
I-
I think at least one person got
Like
10.
0.03%. That's
This is
a
the
lot.
best. This is the best I've done.
So I got 1. And Nia and Richard both got 5.
Correct.
Even all reliable of will there be a safety car?
I know. Yeah, that's what let me down, really.
I had Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas for the podium.
I changed the winning margin for it to be bigger. I originally had the right thing, and then I changed it to be the next one up.
Yeah, I had fastest lap wrong. All I got was Lando Norris being faster in 1.5.
Okay,
I got-
mine's more embarrassing.
Oh,
I picked Charles Leclerc.
Oh, God.
Yeah, 16th. I got Fernando Alonso as the fastest of
I had
that lot, though.
Seb, so I was one position off, to be fair.
I said Mick was going to be the first to retire because I thought he'd have like gearbox issues after his quali crash.
I said George Russell.
I said Mazepin.
Obviously,
thought-
no one retired.
I thought
so
Russell was just going to yeet someone.
Fair. My prediction of 17 finishes therefore didn't come true, and no safety
Yeah, I
car.
had 18.
Yeah.
I
got
had a safety car, and I had the winning margin of 7 to 12
Yeah,
seconds.
I had
Yeah, I didn't get that.
the
I said
I
2
had
to
the-
4.
I had the podium right, and first finish Q1 right, which was Lando. I got fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. I didn't get the first finish of Q1. Obviously, no one retired. I said 19 finishes and safety car. Obviously, didn't happen. And then winning margin, the 7 to 12 seconds, which I originally had 2 to 4. Then I changed it. I am not mad at all. Totally not mad.
In other words, Nia is raging.
She's positively fuming.
Yep.
I'm tamping fuming raging.
For those of us who don't speak Welsh, that means she's really annoyed.
That's like the one-
Angry.
That's the one thing that will bring out my Welsh accent is tamping fuming raging.
So we've gained quite a lot of time on where we thought we would be. Let's talk about FRECA a little more.
Saucy one.
Yeah, Gregor Saucy won both races. Again.
Yeah,
I
he's,
wonder
Is it-
who the champion's going to be.
Is it too early to declare him as the champion?
How
to
many
be honest,
races are
after
left?
oh god,
I don't even know how many races are in FRECA.
there's 5 rounds
20
left.
races, so yeah, they're
Oh.
halfway through the season.
I mean,
I wonder who's going to win.
yeah. After seeing like the first 3 rounds and how dominant Saucy's been, because he had like all 4 pole positions in the first 2 rounds, so it's like
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Prema is really not doing well at this now because, like, in the first up until Monaco, Paul Aaron had like top 4 every race. He either like P2, P3, or P4. Then he binned it in Monaco. He got like second. Then he binned it coming into Sandebon.
So Gregor Saucy is now an entire race weekend clear of Hadrian David.
oh
Oh,
god, he is.
Oh, this elimination's so boring.
60 leads 96.
With 50 points being the maximum in a race weekend.
I wonder who is going to win.
So the more interesting one this year then is the rookies standings.
Well, I mean, the fight for second,
Oh, yeah.
because 7 points separates second down to 6th. So
There we have a rookie in third at the moment.
yeah,
In Hadrian David.
and then the next nearest rookie
Sorry,
is
Isaac
Gabriella
Hajar,
Mini.
not Hadrian David.
Next nearest rookie is Gabriella Mini in 6th on 89 points. So
Who does Saucy drive for?
ART.
ART. Now that's a bit more interesting because they're only 14 points clear of RACE GP.
yeah, I will direct you towards Monaco, where Gregoire Saucy failed to score points.
Yeah.
I didn't like one.
Yeah,
in
ART
the sec-
scored 8 points in
Yeah.
that Monaco
in
weekend.
the second race of Monaco.
RACE scored 86.
In the second race of Monaco, wasn't an all RHGP podium because they have 4 drivers, I think. But
There's so many drivers that
Yeah,
it's really
I
hard to
think-
keep track.
I think RHGP have 4 drivers. But
I'm on the
Lena
FRECA website
Bula is,
just
like,
now.
right there.
I'll find out.
Yeah. Lena Bula, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's
Yeah.
always at the back.
Hadrian David, Zayn Maloney, Isaac Hajar, and Lena Tabula.
Yeah, she's always at the back. So sad times.
Prema don't seem to do the greatest in FRECA, to be honest.
they were, as I said, they were doing all right in Paul Allen, and like Dino Bogdanovic was like up there, and I think David Vidales won the first race.
Yeah, David
That was
Vidalis
it.
is good.
That I think that
They were
then,
doing
like,
all right until about halfway through Monaco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Monaco, they've just gone downhill because they got a podium in the first race for Paul Allen.
And
Now
then
they've just gone downhill.
8 points, 3 points, 7 points, 16 points, 6 points.
Yeah, they've just gone downhill since Monaco.
Yeah.
I think if they get back on it though, they'll be all right.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're only in third, but they are already 101 points behind second place. So, and they are only 1 point in front of fourth. So,
I hope they do get back on it because I want Prema to win.
Another Constructors Championship with a big old fight for third.
So yeah, Vidalis did win, the first race, in one of the stewards' documents. That's actually very well produced because it was made by Formula One, because it was part of one of their backing weekends.
Every weekend, apart from like the last two, have been with the GT Championship. The rest of them were with F1.
And now, the GT ones, to be fair, are actually not too bad as well. They're a bit readable. But
so when you get into like the 24 hours of Spa, and it's like at 15 hours, 32 minutes, 12 seconds, 0.004, this person left the track and gained a lasting advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I know FRECA is a junior category and stuff, but some of the documents that got uploaded are quite difficult to read.
You just kind of wish that they'd set like a template from F1 and they just use that. Just have like a blank document that's like driver name here, lap of incident, case of incident, dished out penalty, or result of investigation. It'd be that no investigation necessary, or penalty points, or whatever.
Or just have like the FIA just have like the same set document for everything. Yeah, it would make life so much easier.
Just have fill in the blanks of driver details.
It's like, although the layout is very similar, let's compare them. So here's a FRECA one about a time being reinstated, which you would never see in Formula One. Here it is. It's not the clearest. It's uploaded slanty. It's just.
Is it literally just scanned in? Oh my god!
Yeah, there was a signature at the bottom there.
Yeah, it's generally signed.
Yeah.
And then let's go to FIA.com.
It hasn't even been received by the competitor. What a shambles!
Yeah. And there's the F1 ones. They're so clear.
And you scroll down to the bottom of the page. See that? Just digital signatures. Done.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
So, I get FRECA as a junior category and everything, but when you literally got to borrow F1's documents when you were with them, just copy them.
Save a template.
Yeah.
It would make everything so much easier for like the stewards as well, just having the same document with just with a different logo.
It's the one time you want that. Hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, don't make it too. You want them to make it too obvious.
I think the only F1 document that is physically signed on the bottom of it is timekeeping, and it's signed by the timekeeper. There you go. So if you ever wondered who's is the official timekeeper for Formula One, it's Ed Billingham.
The more you know.
According to these stewards' documents. And then you get this lovely, this is what I use to find out who won. I don't look at the website, I read this.
I mean, I used the app today because I was in.
Which is also how I found out that George Russell done his fastest lap on lap 52, which was his penultimate lap.
So I do like some aspects of the F1 live timing though. If I dump a picture I took, it shows you the positions of all the drivers throughout the course of the race.
I remember when I used to use live timing as a way to watch the race if I couldn't be at home because there's the driver tracker.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And I used to just follow that.
I do that if I miss like a qualifying. If I well, I don't go to work anymore, but if I was at work, I would, and we were like in the van, I would just sit there and watch the dots go around the track.
That's what I was doing for Mazepin bingo. I was like, okay, we're going to pick a guide first. We're going to pick Mazepin. And we're just going to leave it there, and we're going to watch the race. And then when it gets close, we're going to pay attention. And then it happened in the pit lane, and I'm like, oh, this is a joke.
So yeah, with that, we're going to stick to our plan of moving Formula E to the bumper episode. So with that, it wraps up this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast.
That's 1 out of 3 done.
Yes. Next up, Styrian Grand Prix, followed by the Austrian Grand Prix, followed by 2 weeks off, 1 week off.
I'll take
1 week
any weeks off of just pure carnage
And
at
then
this
it's
point.
Silverstone.
Yeah, a week off and then Silverstone. So in that week off, it'll be Formula E and F1 2021, the official video game, not the season.
It is a week. Yeah, it is a week off because Goodwood Festival of Speed is in between Austria and Silverstone, and I'm very excited for it because I am going.
So Nia will be coming to us live from the Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Yeah, I might have to be live from Silverstone as well, actually. And then we've got Sonia live from Styria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'll be back home by that point, but
I actually might not be on the Monday. That's a good point.
Yeah, I
but-
don't think I'll be
from
on
the train.
From the train.
I might be.
Yeah, Alex, if you can get into the circuit on Monday, that would be great.
I don't actually know. I'll probably be on the way home.
I think I'll probably be on the way.
Car. On the way home.
But I think I still might be at the Festival of Speed on that Monday.
Right, you can give us a track walk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it would have finished by then because I think it's like Thursday to Monday.
That's fine. That just means you won't get run over doing your track walk.
Good point. Good point.
It's near.
So Nia's going to be live from the Goodwood Festival of Speed while we talk about Formula E and the F1 2021 game.
I will just be walking around trying to find a Wi-Fi hotspot. Just be like, please.
So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the race this weekend, which is accompanied by FIA Formula 3 and W Series, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
W Series definitely. I'm
W
not sure
Series
about-
definitely.
I'm not sure about Formula 3.
Quick check.
I know Formula 3 is Austrian.
Calendar 2nd to 4th of July. That's next week. So it's just W Series this week.
Just W Series. So you've got a nice relaxing week in terms of support races. You don't have a
Only one
with this week. Yeah.
Oh, we can take a breather.
So we'll have all the news from the W Series season opener in Styria, and then Austria is FIA Formula 3 and W Series, if I remember correctly. Then Silverstone, Formula 2 and W Series. So we've got a lot of support races coming up, which is the one thing I like about these big spaced out gaps, is we're basically having a support series every weekend.
Yeah, it's like one
As
big.
opposed to last
like-
year, where after Russia, we basically had none.
Yeah, there's like this big block of support races. Then it goes to like barely any after like Monza, I think.
And then we go to Jeddah.
Yeah.
And Yas Marina's changing.
There's
Oh yeah, that's what I
Oh.
forgot.
Penny such a pain.
It's
There's
gonna be,
a
I think this is the
new-
3rd week in a row we're going to have outro 1 and outro 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
More
new
half an
layout
hour
at
of
the
waffle.
Yas Marina circuit. I'll pull it up because WTF1 shared it on their Twitter.
Well,
Thanks
rough.
very much to WTF1 for making this graphic for us, so we don't have to. Link will
this
be
is
in the
the
description to their Twitter.
proposed. So there's
So-
nothing concrete about this yet. It's just sort of this is what's been.
Subject to homologation
done.
by the FIA. The white lines are the changes to the circuit for Yas Marina.
So that's what the turn 6 hairpin
Yeah.
has been sort of
One,
elongated.
two,
They got rid of the
three,
chicane.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so is that turn 5 that'll be now? 1, 2, 3,
On brand.
4.
Yeah. Whenever I see it come up,
five
Yeah.
here?
It counts
And
as
then
one
so
in the
that'll be
game.
6. Yeah. So
whenever I
that's
see like
6.
whenever I see turn 5 come up and say like replays, like before the race, I think nice podcast, great podcast. Check
So
it out.
I think
6,
that would be
7,
5
8,
because that would be
9,
5.
10,
And then the
11,
other bits
12,
after
13,
yeah.
14. So
The other
we're
bits
losing
after the
about
second
5
DRS straight.
corners here
Yeah, but nobody
between turns
overtook there
11 to
anyway.
14. No one overtakes in the entire final sector.
Yeah. So I think they've done that to try. Obviously, they can't really change the last few corners because there's a really great hotel there.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you design an F1 track around a building instead of designing the buildings around a good F1 track. But at least they're doing
This corner
something.
can lead to some good overtaking if you know how to send it down the inside.
Especially now that they've changed the entry into it.
Yeah.
Looks like you
Now
should
that
be
it's
able to
that
carry more
sweeping
speed
corner,
into
yeah.
it. Yeah. So
It was already flat out into it though, mind you.
yeah, but it was flat out from a much slower speed.
It was
So-
flat out here rather than yeah.
Yeah, so they'll be carrying more speed into it rather than anything else. So we'll see.
We'll find out in December if it works.
Yeah, and only half a year away.
Yeah. And we're still waiting to hear what's happening to Singapore.
Yes.
Singapore. I just want them to hold a race. I like Singapore.
Never mind. No, I thought, did we talk about Romain Grosjean's test got moved? Well, obviously we
Yeah,
know
we
now.
did
Romain
last
Grosjean's
week.
test has been
Yeah.
postponed because of COVID.
Obviously,
don't know when
everyone
it
knows
is.
now.
That's the end of this week's Turn 5 podcast.
It was meant to be a speed run. I don't think it ended up being a speed run.
Well, in fairness, we've only been on. Well, I've only been on the call an hour and a half, and
Yeah, hour and 20
Okay.
minutes.
yeah, we didn't
Oh, okay.
start until about
20
later on,
past
so we're
8,
not
yeah.
bad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not as bad as 2 episodes ago.
So on that terrible
Dead on 2
disappointment,
hours.
it's time to end. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, rate 5 stars, thumbs up, clap, anything.
Follow and ring the notification
You
bell.
just see him like,
Yeah.
bravo!
Yeah, after the episode ends, just someone sitting in the room. Amazing.
And we shall see you next time. Ta-ra.
Bye.
Bye.